I think compliments to Rajat that who's used literature to explain trauma or about a very traumatic political period in India, the exodus of the Pandits from Kashmir, the political crisis which is still continuing, the rise of fundamentalism, the way it affects human relationships. You see, being in a particular field, it's, as I highlighted this, the narrative could have been scholarly, tedious, highbrow, which it is not. I found it very fascinating that 100 short chapters, the chapters are very brief, brisk, to the point, dealing with something and then moving on. And as you rightly said, what next? So there's that element of suspense also, a relationship, will the love relationship develop, transformation of human beings. So, these are all very complex issues, trauma, genocide, fundamentalism, but he has managed to weave it into a story, and which I think is a tribute to literature, that it's made it more interesting for all of us. Instead of being scholarly and tedious, Rajat has brought out a very fascinating aspect of Kashmir, this whole rise of fundamentalism, the way and how through it affects young boys, the Haji Chacha villain, that is shown very well, especially I think the ending, the last chapters were fascinating. That's what I will start with, that some of the can be gruesome also, but the events in the last chapters make you think about the impact of all these things. So there are several topics of discussion, and sort of what I would like to end in is, yes, it's a story dealing with Kashmir in the 80s, 90s, the last of the 20th century, but it's ongoing. And how much has it changed? Later we have, do we have any more? So, what he's rightly done, it's a great work of literature because he's not giving you easy answers. There are no easy answers. We all know in life there are no easy answers. So, that I think this is the hallmark of the book, in which he brings out so many aspects. I would also like to bring out my own research, that certain characters resemble what I think are somewhat real people. So, you tackle so many issues, from pacifism to, if we give it a historical context, that the exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits, that is what the novel starts with, which has a historical connection. Guru Tegh Bahadur, Sikh Guru, refusal to convert to Islam, so there is research also, there is a historical background, and because the Pandit community, very interesting research, had requested Guru Tegh Bahadur to save them. And so when Aurangzeb couldn't convert it, he was massacred and the Pandit community is massacred. Aditya Narayan, the main character in our novel, the greatness what I felt in Rajat's novel was that fundamentalism in all religions is a language. Rigidity to a certain extent, not fundamentalism, rigidity. The caste system in Hinduism. Islam, there's a lot which I'll come to, but like the domes never agrees to. So in a very subtle, gentle manner, you have, the author has rightly shown fundamentalism in so many relationships. Another very unusual, which is again the complement to which I'll start by, page 327. See, it's very easy, Arundhati Roy also did it, to blame the army for excesses, to blame the armed forces for excesses. What he has rightly done, which is very thought-provoking, to create a distinction between the police and the army. The local police there, which is full of corruption, and the army, in which there was some sort, most of us have the book, page 327. Page 327. We come to page 327. I thought was a very revealing. I found the last chapter even more interesting than the opening chapter. Page 327 is where Zeba's husband is captured by the armed forces, and this officer that don't shoot me anyway. Let's come to 327, where the officer tells the men that let us release him. So you get a very different version of not just the army out to kill people. Now this very important line which is said, if we had killed him, he will be spoken of. This second line, he had been spoken of as a martyr amongst his people. Now he will be seen as a traitor, and his madness as punishment from God. And I think the next line is even more. So these are very thought-provoking lines. Remember, this war is not to make martyrs out of the people who get caught by us. Kashmir is full of criminals with halos of martyrs. Very excellent line. The criminals become martyrs. It's very easy to blame the oppressive state. Now he will be forced to tell everyone why he was released without a scratch on his skin when his comrades weren't so lucky. People will talk of him as a traitor who betrayed his comrades in exchange for freedom. Okay? Now, you see, all this and how the impact, the question of trauma, what impact does it have on somebody? So, so many messages come across. Another aspect which we can talk on is difficult love relationships, which I found very fascinating. The difficulty of love relationships in this particular very traumatic times. If I think some very crucial lines, page 290, 290. Zeba says, it's the third last paragraph. Deep inside she knew that she may have borne children to Salim and been faithful to him, but her relationship with him ended there. When my children grew up, this is Zeba is talking, how will I tell them that their father lived by the gun and killed innocent people? Okay, so these shown as characters who struggle at many levels. There is this relationship. Religion doesn't sort of, commonly people try to tell you, takes you into a different level and all. Okay, he is
singing hymns and mantras made her more attracted towards it. He's singing hymns and mantras in the temple made her more attracted. She was listening from the other side.
From the other side. Right, goat used
standing next to the wall.
Yeah. So, there's that wonderful scene, I haven't noted the page. What she says, and this I'll quote, this line I liked a lot. Aditya, you are like those distant mountain peaks, Zeba's telling. They look beautiful, but one can't live there. I want to remember you as someone who liberated. Okay, Zeba tells Aditya. And then further, every woman, she's telling Aditya, every woman, Aditya, falls in love with the man who teaches her to live. Which is a very crucial line. Who teaches her to live. He then should live in her memory. Otherwise, their relationship loses meaning. So, now the same, what I said, the fundamentalism, page 321, life also is very terse prose. It's not sort of very flowery language as such, nor it's sort of big sentences. Not following the path of a true Muslim. Now there are two aspects in it. One is a religious, not following the path of a true Muslim. And second, and that you don't have respect for independence of Kashmir. So you see, this is I think what has come out very well. that there are two aspects to it. One is this sort of Islamic fundamentalism which grew in the 90s. There are many political reasons also for that. Okay, but the other is also independence of Kashmir. It's not just, the glory of Islam. And page 323, which is, and she says on page 323, very important line, the whole community feels betrayed by it. The whole community feels betrayed by it. So, again, trauma fundamentalism, what it does to minds, to young minds, how it influences them. As she says, you know the answer. I thought at least you were with me, with you, what does that mean? What wrong have I done? Now, the very important line, I wanted to marry a man who follows true Islam. What is true Islam? I think this question the book raises. Ultimately, what is true Islam? Is it, as Javed explained to Anwar, that you hear the voice of God in your ears when you save your enemy from dying? So what is true Islam? Is it this or stone throwing an attack? Don't let the temple exist. Ultimately, that temple becomes a symbol that we have to destroy. That is sort of, it's seen as a challenge, as an affront to Islam, that in front of a mosque there is a temple. He is trying to reclaim a legacy. See, what I talked about earlier, the caste system, that what we see in the earlier chapters, which I glossed over, that his father, what did you say? What was the name?
Krishna Narayan.
Krishna. Okay. So this is the only book in which this distinction is drawn between the army and the police. Very credible. You've been there so many years. How the police are hobnobbing with terrorists and how that leads to alienation of the Kashmiri youth. So Javed tells Anwar, you hear the voice in your ear, the voice of God in your ears when you save your enemy from dying. He is perplexed. It's not shown as easy. That is the niceness of this book. Nothing is shown as simple. And human minds are, we all know, are very complex. Changes don't happen. It's not like a movie, changes happen like this. So, very common. Young boy growing up wants to be a hero in his locality. Either you play cricket or you sing songs. You're strong, you're a dada in that locality. There are many ways in which young men want to impress. So he's a kind, compared to Haji, the Imam Sahib is a much better human being as such, but still he's influenced by the atmosphere of fundamentalism. And Nazeba is always told that which is a lot of women in both communities or many communities in our part of the world go through this, that as you're growing up, you have to you have to learn how to look after the house, cook well, sew well, to be a model housewife. A woman shouldn't be anything else. So Zeba is also trained in that. He had told her to behave like a pious Muslim woman, but she won't listen and they quarrel frequently. So selling the idea of a pious Muslim woman is also a very, what can we say, a male-dominated view. He gave her a last chance, she refused to take it. I did try to stop him, but failed. Organized religion justifying violence. All the Imams in Kashmir told me that it was not a crime on Salim's part to uphold his honor. So again, a very chauvinistic view, the male honor, the preservation of the male honor, and all the Imams agreed. Okay, who had said, let him be free. If we kill him, he'll become a martyr. Okay, Indian forces, military is killed him. Now, the Azadi on the night, historical research is good also, on the night of 20th January 1990, a day after the Hindus, the Pandits left, Haji Sahib had told a few of us in the early days of the struggle, he had found it difficult to inspire young boys to fight for Azadi. The letter is very brief. It gives you in a nutshell the whole historical background. Our boys don't have fire in their belly to fight the Indians. And this way we will never get it. They have to be made to go through fire. And how are the boys transformed? Very well that, the contrast between the army and the armed forces get separated, the different forces which are there to preserve law and order, the corruption within the police, and this whole idea. So, why did he pick up stones? Is it the beating? If the beating didn't take place, none of the boys would have. I had to prepare them. Now, this is also misleading the youth. If we see with fundamentalism all over in many communities, prepare them for a holy war. Haji, Imam, the young get sacrificed to prepare them for a holy war. They go through this form. They have the strength, the energy. In the letter, then finally, but there is no easy ending also. There is no, as I said in the beginning, that Kashmir seems to have moved on so.
Mr. Mitra, on a personal note, I was going through a bit of a medical problem and I told someone that I cannot concentrate and read anything. She gave me your book. Thank you. Because it began my reading again and reading with tremendous enthusiasm. This book could not have come at a better time. We do not wish to go into a mood of triumphalism. But it is very clear, at least there are many parallels. It just says there are people who survive a very traumatic period, and I don't want to call it Holocaust because that word is misused a number of times. But nevertheless, a time comes when the survivors speak out. They speak out and they retrieve their memories. Just as in the end, as Novi rightly pointed out, it says don't turn every stone thrower into a martyr. Right in the beginning, I think chapter 23 or 33, one of the two, when he's being asked why Aditya wants to go there and build the temple, he says because we cannot let our dead not be martyrs. We have to retrieve the memory of the martyrs as much as we have to, make sure that de-radicalization or downgrading of the word martyr does not take place. This book, partly as this, I found it very intriguing. Like Jatak Katha, makes a simple chapter of a point because your story or narrative is only the skeleton on which multimedia, metaphorical, Jatak kind of parables and other stories move. And every story has a kind of teasing point, the next. And you make a profound point at the end of many of these chapters. And then you tell the audience, look, think, come back if you want. So that and I don't want to say anything more except that I hope this starts the process which the Kashmiri Pandits had tried to do in that magazine in which our late Professor Ian Call was also associated from Kashmir. And that is of people not only talking of liberalism and fundamentalism, but also talking openly of religion now, which is no longer a bad word. We no longer think, oh, she can't be in our unmarket community. She talks of Hinduism. Bad. Retrieve our cultures, our ethnicities, and our identities, which are irrevocably bound with our memories, and our memories with our ancestors, and our ancestors who came much before Press Club lived as religious identities. All that you find.
I'm very confused in this. Like what you're saying, ethnic identity is something that is irrevocable and something that is not a construct.
Ethnic identities are not irrevocable, but they have taken a long period to grow. They have taken a long period to grow.
Nonetheless, it is a construct.
Yes, it is a construct.
Yeah.
But a construct which took place much before our idea of what is a constructed fundamental religion. So, religion is not only fundamentalism. as it was being treated for a long time. And the kind of association which a person has with his memories, with his ancestors, with the place of their birth, and it's a sense of agreement sometimes. That is, and I read in your distinct chapter, that is what you deal with. I just leave it at that, that I hope this is the beginning of a long process of healing, investigation, and looking forward to a future of united India.
Tremendous praise for the book all along, and I fully support it. One of the things that I think, which is an issue that everyone evokes and talks about, is partition, and you use it in a similar manner. Amar now shows compassion without regard to religion. The shopkeeper at the Morbi's town, helping Anwar with food and trade there, across religions. Then the professor whom he has cited, Beg, another helper, Aditya. So there are very credible human beings, which is what strengthens your book.
I'm looking at it slightly differently. See, your central theme, of course, is the persecution of, the Pandits. Basically, I just want to point out certain, contrasts among the characters. Firstly, before the characters, you have put a contrast, in Benares, the Kashi with the Vishwanath temple and the mosque are face to face. And you have brought the same thing, here in Kashmir. The temple and the mosque, are face to face there. So that's a very interesting thing. It shows, the whole process of, you can say, contest or struggles or whatever you call it.
About the mountains themselves, there's a very significant statement which I like very much, that the mountains are beautiful, but you can't live there. I'm reproducing in my own words. So similar statements are there, thrown all through the novel. And the focus is on the events. You have very cleverly, I think, brought in all the episodes of Guru Tegh Bahadur's martyrdom, etc. Probably the reader is not so much aware about the details. In very small chapters, 2 to 3 pages, on an average.
100 of them.
100 chapters, but then the beautiful thing is that in each chapter something happens. So it keeps you moving. There's something happening all through. There's more violence towards the end, but then otherwise there's space. Starting from the father, then 500 centuries, 500 years ago, 5 centuries. And then the focus remains the same. Despite all the events, the things remain the same. So that is what
I can just add a few lines. Let me say this. I worked for years with Nidhi in the refugee camps in Kashmir, and my specialization is in refugee trauma. I work with refugees all across the world. I listen to their language. I've spent hours there. If you spend, say for example, for me nature is something organic. How people bring it out into their language. I have checked for that. I've heard how the Kashmiri Pandits, the Kashmiri Muslims talk about nature in their language. That is what I have tried to pick up. I have not talked of the raw beauty of nature. That has not been my goal. I'm a psychologist. For me, it's the feelings, it's how people work, it's how people get affected. That is something that involves me. I'll share with you a story, how the book began. Maybe it's important, and if I can be given permission for 2 minutes. We were coming out of the camp one day, my wife and I, and there was this man who was standing there. He was a Kashmiri Pandit. Very aggressively he came to me and said, "Why do you come here?" He was like, he was almost very angry with me. So I tried to answer. I had not expected something like this. I fumbled. I said, "I'm a psychologist and I'm working with the trauma of the people." He said, "Do you understand our trauma?" I said, "We are trying to understand." And I was trying to go and say that many of the people in the camp, they have symptoms like they can't sleep, children wake up in the night screaming. These are very common symptoms of any refugee camp. It is no different from Kashmir. And there were a lot of Sikh students also in the camp. It is something that not many people know about, but there are many Sikhs also who are there. And we had different groups, one with the young men, one with the young women, and the older women. And another was kind of a mixed group where everybody kind of came in. So this man said, do you know the name of this camp? I said, no, ठीक. He said, no. आपको नाम भी नहीं पता इस कैंप का? आप क्या काम कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? I was very taken aback. I said, ठीक है. He said, नहीं. ये कैंप है औरंगजेब का सपना कहते हैं हम इसको.
Aurangzeb's dream.
Aurangzeb's dream. So I said, I mean, I'm trained in Western clinical tradition, so, from the university, and I said, what is this man talking about? So then we went back, checked out, and what we found is that 300 years back, Aurangzeb, as someone here rightly pointed out, tried to convert the valley. So Aurangzeb's dream was fulfilled, that he was trying to say. It struck me. So when, we came back, then I brought up this story. We used to have a group, and I said कि आप लोगों ने मुझे बताया, मुझे बहुत मतलब अच्छा लगा कि आपने बताया. So you have told me this, and now I understand. Thank you very much. I suddenly felt that we connected for the first time with those people. They were carrying that memory inside their heads. Whether we agree or disagree is not the question, but people carry memory as their identity. Things changed for us. After that, it became, come to our place and have a cup of tea. A single room where 7 people are living is their home, but they would be inviting us for tea, they would be inviting us for, many things. So a new bond developed. The story, what you talked about, there was this Sikh, there were a couple of Sikh boys also in our group, young boys. I'll just mention the story. And one day, when we were having a group, they were doing something, they all ran away saying कि कहानी सुननी है. So भाई 5 मिनट रुक जाओ, 10 मिनट रुक जाओ. They said नहीं रुकना. So I was very curious and also a little bit hurt. My ego was hurt. I said, we are spending so much time the whole day and he runs away just like that. So what was it that was lacking in us? So I went to their place and there was this old man sitting there. He was telling a story and there were a couple of young Sikh boys, very young, who were listening. He was telling them the story of Tegh Bahadur, the entire story. So I asked him, I said, हम भी बैठ के सुन सकते हैं आपसे? So, really, he was a really huge, burly Sikh man, and he said, हाँ, बैठो क्यों नहीं? So I said, ठीक है, we had heard how. He told us the whole story again. Then I asked him, I said, do I have your permission to write it? I copied it in the chapter, exactly, right? Then I realized one thing when writing the book, that I'm dealing with 2 alternate histories. One is the Persian history, one is the Sikh history, and they differ. The Sikh history says that there was a confrontation between Aurangzeb and Tegh Bahadur. The Persian history says no, Aurangzeb was not even at that time. So I approached Sikh scholars. I even went to Anandpur Sahib to, ask that, this is what I have written, shared it with the Granthis and with the scholars there. And they said कि ये कहानी बिल्कुल वैसी है जैसी होनी चाहिए, right? So it is not easy to write a book like this. Let me put it like this. The central theme of my book is not the army. It is not nature. It is people. It is what they have gone through, right? And I've tried to put that in the center, and it has not been easy for me, right? Whenever I put in nature, I put in how man or woman is linked to nature. So whenever they have made statements, whether it is Aditya or Zeba, it is how nature becomes part of your life. If you go to a refugee camp, you hear statements which shock you, right? Like, there is a statement at the end of the 4th chapter, a shelter always remains a shelter, it never becomes a home, right? Where I heard that, it is not my sentence. We were in Hong Kong working with refugees, and one day we had to go to somebody's home, Iranian family, Christian Iranian. When we went to their home, father was screaming, why have you decorated this home? And the daughter was saying, we have guests coming, and didn't realize that we were just at the door. So I said, I'm sorry if we have come at the wrong time. He said, no, I'm just telling my daughter not to decorate this place. So I said, is there something in that? He said, you know what, she's trying to believe that this is a home. And I'm telling her this is not a home, it will never become a home. No shelter ever becomes a home. And that stayed with me powerfully. And I wrote that in the book. The shelter always remains a shelter. So it is picking up from people, their narratives, that I have tried to capture the book, right? I'm sure what you're saying are very valid points, right? There is no, denying that. They also occurred to me, but I had to choose what to write, what not to write. Regarding the army, why you are asking why then the army did not stay in a temple. The times, when the Hindus ran away that week was so disorienting. People just did not know what was happening, right? According to statistics, nearly 186 temples were destroyed. I have visited some of them.
Rajat, may I just interrupt? Because I had a talk with my husband. We have been during all these years in India, we read newspapers, we traveled. And we had a circle of friends, mainly consisting of politicians and journalists. And yet, I have no memory that we discussed the exodus of the Pandits ever. And I asked my husband, what about you? Both his brothers were journalists. He said, I also don't have any memory. And I find it so amazing that this topic was never raised. Unlike other...
If you go to the camps,
This is
you will
amazing.
find all those memories. Because nobody was interested.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
Nobody was. I mean, every one of them is full of stories. But you will not find people going there and that no one has gone. And not only that, it's when you are there for days, when you spend time over there, they start coming with their deeper stories. One day there was a group of, I think after almost 3 months or so, there was a group with women. And they shared with Nidhi that they were sexually assaulted, but they never talked about it. Why? For the very simple reason that if they were talked about, they would not find any place. And who would they talk to? One of the women said, I talked to my husband, and he said, keep quiet about it. Right?
Even when they were transferred into Islam, the Pandits don't talk about that torture they have gone through. They just go there. They want to hide that aspect.
Sure, because there is a reason why
I
they
think
hide.
if you use one of the Pandits, at least you have touched that, or in some of the books. It's touched very rarely.
One of the women said that when talked to the policeman over there, they tried to raise a case. He said, India में जाके अपना केस लॉन्च कीजिए, यहाँ क्यों बोल रहे हैं? And one of the proudest things they showed me, the boys over there, they said that, sir, हमने यहाँ पे gym बनाया है, Kashmiri Pandits doing exercises. They said that we are becoming powerful right now. We realize that we have to become strong in order to survive. It is changing their lives.
In those camps.
Yes, in those camps they have built. So जैसे सर हम आपको दिखाना चाहते हैं कि हमने gym बनाया है.
Again, I have a memory. It reminds me of what I was told in Israel, that there the young people specially exercise to be strong, because the Jews had that image of being weak and always surrendering and succumbing to the power of others. This reminds me a bit of
I
this.
have Jewish friends. They talk about how the Jews, there is a history behind it. At the end of Second World War, when Palestine, the area was carved out for Jews and given, the English, they secretly told the Arabs that these people could be led to the concentration camps like slaughter. They'll be finished in no time. So we are sending them, but you will have your country back. But they said that the Jews fought like crazy. The same people who were led to the camps without a murmur now were fighting ruthlessly and carrying out. Why did all that change? Because they changed from being individual to collective. They no longer thought themselves as an individual family. They thought themselves as part of a larger Jewish race, connected themselves, right? So such a change, such a transformation comes in the life of a community when they change and become different. That is what I have tried to catch. One last thing, with your permission. To me, I have discovered that, there is one Hinduism which has given Vedas, which has given these books. there's also another Hinduism that struggled for survival. When temples were destroyed, when conversions took place, and that is the part that Hindus today are beginning to become aware. There is a gap we find in psychology of 25 to 30 years when a race is almost exterminated and when it takes time for them to pick up their issues and fight back. That is happening with the Kashmiri Pandit community, that is happening with the Hindu community right now, that we are getting in touch with the part of us that struggled, that showed resilience and fought against it. That Hinduism, that struggle is